Hey, good morning, coaches. This is Ben Kasani.
Good morning,
Today, I
Sanjay.
wanted to share a little short 5-minute or so podcast on helping you become a better coach and things that you may not hear in typical advice. I've been talking with a few coaches lately, and I think a few things I've been learning is one, there is so much knowledge out there and so many people telling you how to do things. Have you stopped to listen to how you feel? I was listening to one coach and she's taking a course and spending all this money and just stressed out beyond belief. Has to do all these things with social media, has to do this, you need to do this. And she's just like, I don't feel good doing this. This is not me. And I just want a few clients. I just want to connect to women, and actually, I don't need to make $1 million. I want to just keep it simple. So there's one lesson. Are you listening to yourself? The next thing that came up, I was talking with another coach, and she's going through all these things, and she's very intuitive, and she sees people and their issues, and she's just like, okay, let's just address this and fix it. And, like there's a lot of teachings out there of like, the ego's bad and we need to overcome these issues and like, let's make it happen. And I was teaching her this idea that we need to respect the ego. Our analytical mind is useful. It keeps us alive. It helps us learn math. It helps us communicate with people through words. The spiritual mind helps us communicate through intuition and light. And it helps us just know things and see things very quickly. And so a good coach or therapist will use both. Some therapists have gone to the extreme of so analytical, so focusing in the past, they forget to help people focus on the future and create a better future. And they forget to listen to their intuition. And when you listen to your intuition, you can go faster. And coach was struggling to want to just make people change. And I don't think those are her words, but she just feels like frustrated when they're not changing. How do I make them change? Or how do I help them get over this? Or let's just crush their ego. Let's just pretend here for a moment that you're teaching a child to swim and they are in the swimming pool, but maybe it feels like an ocean. You're like, go faster, your ego's getting in the way. And it's like you're teaching the child to swim, yes, and you're pushing them, but they're not going at their own speed and they're not learning to listen to themselves. And so now they're like gagging on water and swallowing water. And yeah, they're swimming and doing what you're telling them to do, but their ego is like still trying to learn how to process and upgrade. And they're like chugging water and like choking on it. And so there can be something very unhealthy when we, even though intuitively we know it needs to happen, or we know their issue, or we can see it and sense it, that would be going outside the space of love. And now that intention of you wanting to help them and heal them isn't really useful or loving. And so the question I like to ask is it useful? And is it loving, right? Like, I think the question that's easier to ask is it right or wrong? Or is it technically correct or technically like impossible, right? Like you can't swim if you don't follow certain technical steps. Like you need to move your arms. But sometimes we forget, like, if that student is struggling, like, hey, so they're flapping around, they're not doing it in the right way exactly, but are they learning, right? And can you ask the question, is this loving? Like if they're sinking and they're drowning, that's not loving. If they're struggling and they're not quite doing it the way you want, well, maybe that is loving to let them do that because they're learning, they're experiencing. So let's celebrate our tiny wins instead of looking at how much we feel like we need to push clients. Third lesson, getting out of the way. Sometimes as we're helping people, I believe there's a spiritual part of coaching. And one of the things that's helpful is to remember that you are not the source of light, whether it's God, the universe, or whatever you want to say. Sometimes we need to step out of the way. And so sometimes we just need to create that right structure for the coaching setting. So I tell people up front, like, I will interrupt you. That way I can get them out of overthinking or overfeeling. And I don't feel like I'm being rude. And they know up front, this is my style of coaching. So set up your coaching session and let them know your style. Trust yourself. Listen to your feelings. Lean into where there's opposition or obstacles and feel it, love it, trust it. So again, coaches, hope you're doing well. And this is my next daily share for the next 90 days of seeking to share something every day. And good luck on your journey. All right, take care. Bye.